welcome back, guys. My beautiful, messy humans that tune into this podcast from apparently all over the fucking world. I was looking at some stats just now and how freaking cool that 6 continents, 36 countries, and 242 cities. And I was going on a walk the other day and visualizing. I was like, wow, it's really neat. Like someone maybe like going on their walk or going on a drive or commuting or something, working out, and they're listening to me and they have me in their pocket. I was like, wow, that's really cool. So I just want to say thank you. It started off like that. Today I'm solo and I have a semi-funny story to share. Well, it's funny now to me that I made it on the other side. And there might be a couple of different talks and conversations about things on the other side as it pertains to death. Because one of the things that is alive for me right now is grief. A dear friend of mine, bird just flew by. A dear friend of mine died in February and was actually murdered. And it's been it's been a portal in some ways. And he was missing before they found his body. And it's been a beautiful journey as far as like connecting with him on the other side. But I still have moments of like, damn, holy shit, I cannot believe that his physical presence is no longer here. And in some ways, I feel like I took that for granted that he would always be here. Even though we're not, none of us are. I don't even know why I bothered with putting on mascara. Another thing that's alive for me, and I'll circle back to this because it's all connected, but is I'm hosting a writing workshop / play shop on courage on this Wednesday. So if you're listening to this, if you happen to be listening to it on Monday or Tuesday, I'm hosting a writing workshop with Naba. I'll link it in the notes. If you want to join and connect live virtually, it's going to be like an open virtual mic where we'll have some prompts around courage and then the opportunity and space to share. And leading up to this workshop, I was like, okay, well, I guess I better go do some brave shit if I'm going to lead a workshop on courage. And I had been wanting to do the open mic at Kuya in Austin for such a long time. In fact, I actually like kept postponing it. Like I love to go witness all the creativity and just like sit there in wonderment and awe with the different talent and the creativity that flowed through. However, I was like, okay, I was like working it up to share something that I've written myself, because I do a podcast, I have a book, but I've never shared something so deeply personal live in front of a group of people where you can feel the energy and there's, the pitter patters and the sweats and the cotton mouth. So I had told myself, I was like, come hell or high water. Cause I had postponed. I was like, oh, I'll do it next month. I'm too tired. I'm like, I'll do it. So I was like, hell or high water. I am fucking doing it on this last one. They do it on the second Thursdays of every month. And I wanted to read a poem for my friend Larry that I had written. And that's one of the beautiful things about creativity is how alchemical it can be and just like pouring the paint onto the page and words unsaid and that sort of thing. And, I was facilitating a private Tantra retreat in Turks and Caicos at the end of February. And he died right before the trip. And the person that I was going with experienced a big grief and loss as well. And I was like, wow, what a potent reminder right before I go on this trip. And we were sharing memories of our loved ones. And I said, I just wish that I would have told him that I loved him, whether he was using or not. And then this shooting star shot across the sky. And I was like, well, he heard me. He heard me. And, there's been some really interesting other things that have transpired. Whenever he was missing, I had signed up to do this breath work with Bree Mellinson. And I've just always loved like her ability to hold different emotions and allow them to just flow. And I wanted to take her breath work live, and I did. And she's a channel, and she talks like, she's like, don't be surprised if you receive a message from a loved one. And I really wanted clarity, because at this point he was still missing and not found, and I still had a lot of hope. And I set the intention to open up a channel of communication, or get some kind of message or insight or clarity, or maybe be able to like find or reach them in some capacity. And this breath work was so powerful. I came out of it and I heard like, I'm okay, sister, I'm at peace. And I heard it in his voice. And at first I discredited it, and I was like, am I fucking crazy? Did I really hear that? Cause I've this is new for me. Like, I've had dreams with lost loved ones. I've received signs. I believe in that. Like for me, I see the signs. And there was another one that came up recently, from one of the recent conversations that I because after he died, I was like looking through text messages and Facebook messengers and photos and all those things. And I was looking at our last conversation, and I was talking about my dog Boudreaux, and he's like, ATX soon. I'll bring the Boudreaux butt paste. And I had no idea what the Boudreaux butt paste was. I was like, okay, cool. And then the last thing that I'd sent him was a link to like this country song that I wrote and was playing around with. And then a friend surprised me with, by making it into a country song by using some AI technology. And then, a few days go by, or a week, couple weeks or something. I don't know. All I know is that I received this text message from my friend. I was like, holy shit. She had gone to visit someone that has a newborn and sent me a picture of Boudreaux butt cream or butt paste. And I was like, wow, you were just the vessel for a message to come through from my friend. And I'm sorry. Actually, I'm not fucking sorry. I'm a hot mess. I'll scream it into the ethers. He was a wildcatter and such an amazing, incredible soul. And, I think I was just reflecting, and, no matter what I did, and whenever I was in this transitioning period, and, even at times in my life where I didn't fully accept myself, Larry always did. And he always offered love and like rolled for people and experienced, what comes up for me right now is that he experienced a lot of tragedy. And, in 2019, he lost his son, his like 3 or 4-year-old son, in a car accident. And since then, that was a big turning point. And I swear I'm getting back to the Kuya story too. And so one day, we were talking and FaceTiming a lot, almost every day, like towards the end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023, and sprinkled throughout there. And I told him, I was like, Larry, I know grief, but I don't know your grief. And I'm not going to pretend to try to. That to me, that's like, I don't want to compare grief or loss at all. But to lose someone that's not in the typical natural order of things, for a parent to lose a child, to me, that's heartbreaking. And the last time that he wore his cowboy hat was at his son's funeral, and he told me that, I think he wore it at his son's funeral. I think that's what he told me, but he told me he hadn't worn his cowboy hat since his son's funeral. And I was like, Larry, I really want you to put that cowboy hat back on and tell your testimony and how you rose from the ashes and, made a comeback. Because, I think that he had built a beautiful life for himself. And in a lot of ways, like that pain just like really, really impacted his choices and decision. And he was trying to cope. And so there's a lot of substance use involved, and that's not an excuse or anything, but sometimes when you're running with people that are on drugs, and it's no fucking excuse for murder though, I will say that. And like, I hope that there's justice brought to the people that were involved. But, and even then when I say that, it's like, how am I, I really strive to love people. Even if they don't, vibe with me, or they judge me or cast me out, or, if they, regardless, I really strive to be such an open-minded person and kind. Because I don't know, where they're coming from in life, or their experiences, or their stories, or their perspectives, or their, what foundation or traumas that they've had. And, my viewpoint is not the universal viewpoint. And so I really try to operate like, okay, even if you're not eating at my table, even if you're not one of my friends or family members or in my close circle, like, I love you anyway. And so that's a piece I'm still fucking working on. And I do believe in, like, that it's a catalyst, and that he's with me in spirit and energetically and all those things. But man, humaning is fucking hard. Whew. So circling back to the Kuya open mic where I wanted to read the poem, I was so nervous leading up to it. And like, I got a massage earlier that day, and my heart, I was laying there, it's like every time I thought about it, it was just like like, and I was like, whew. I tried to put my attention and my awareness and my focus on where the masseuse's hands were placed on my body, but still it was like, and now what comes up is like that heartbeat was like calling me forth, and like the courage. I'm like thinking of like Native American drums and like boom, 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 boom. And maybe if I look at it that way. But I was driving from the massage to Austin to Kuya, and I started visualizing. And I started visualizing Larry in his cowboy hat in my passenger seat next to me, doing his little sign, and saying, "Let's roll," because he was one of my biggest cheerleaders too. He's like, "You're doing big and great things, and I want you to be bigger." And we had visions of like writing and turning some things out together, and but I was like, "All right, Larry, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to need your fucking support through this." And then I also had a vision of just like holding hands with my past self, with my future self in this present moment. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm signing up. And I'm like chugging water because like my tongue is attached to the roof of my mouth. And I'm like, I'm going to bring back. And I will say that they really, James really set the tone at Kuya that helped put me a little bit more at ease, because we had 10 seconds of silence, and then said 5 I love yous, or did an and then said 5 I love yous. And that really helped just like calm my nervous system a little bit, but I was still like, the adrenaline was pumping. And I knew my friend that had met me there had signed up right before me when she went, and I was like, all right. And I feel like, man, of course, I'm like, if I burp, it's moving fucking energy. The belching tantric goddess, okay? And I get up there and I'll read it at the end of this podcast. I'm kind of have a blank right now. I kind of outlined some things that I wanted to talk on and touch on for this podcast. And grief portal, receiving signs. Yeah. The title. The title of this podcast is because I had a damn near death experience, or what felt like one. And boric acid is a suppository for women for pH balance. Ladies, if you don't know about boric acid, it is fantastic for bacterial vaginosis, or if you have a new sexual partner, if you wore your yoga pants too long, if you were in the hot tub, or just like worse, moisture, and the kitty cat's a little sensitive. And if something has disrupted your pH balance, it can have like an odor, and I don't want that. I like smelling fresh as the rose. Um, and I was in, I'm in this tantra training, and I have been, and I just signed to do another year with Leola, and it's incredible. And I love the women. Like I couldn't see those women not being in my life and having that support and stepping into more leadership. But the way they were doing it, they were chatting about boric acid, and I had been running low on sleep. And when I don't get my sleep, my anxiety tends to trend upward, my mental health, like I just don't feel like I'm running on all cylinders. And so I'd been like, 3 or 4 nights in a row where it was low sleep. And I put another little tablet in my hand, like another little supplement. I think it was like my dim or oregano oil or something. And I just completely spaced and down the hatch swallowed all the pills. Well, on the box, it says in all caps, do not swallow. And I like went on about something, and it took a couple of minutes before I realized what I did. And I was like, I think I fucking swallowed the boric acid. And I'm like, even just like the word boric, I don't even know. I'm not a scientist, but that doesn't sound good. I mean, that makes me think of like a chemistry lab or something. And like, what kind of reaction is that going to have? And so I immediately start trying to like make myself throw up. Boudreaux's starting to freak out in his crate because he can feel and sense my energy. I'm like, my neighbor is probably asleep. I don't want to go to the ER. I've got a body painting session booked with someone the next day. Told you. And I'm on the floor of my fucking bathroom. I'm like, what am I going to do? I do not want to go to the ER before my body paint session. I'm like, I'm like, is this it? Is this how I'm going to go out? And I was like, ugh, like it literally just felt like I was crumbling. And I was like, well, I guess I will call poison control. I've never called poison control, but I will try. I'm like Googling, boric acid, accident, what the toxicity is. And then I'm like, I just need to call poison control because, there's some people like call or go to. And so I call, and this sweet woman answers the phone, and I'm like, I accidentally swallowed some boric acid, and I'm like panicking. And she's like, you're going to be fine. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to die. She's like, no, you might be really nauseous, and you might be really thirsty. You might want to eat something. She's like, how many did you take? And I was like, 1. It was by fucking accident. It was by accident. And so, got my zip code and my name. I gave her my first name because I was like, I don't even know if I want to give you my last name. I'm like, even though I'm like telling the world in the podcasting space right now and all the people in 6 continents. And so I'm like, I go to sleep. I had an anti-nausea pill left over from my ketamine treatment series. And even in that and of itself has been a journey. And if you've been listening or tuning in for a while, you know that the last year I was having some mental health challenges, and suicide ideation, like as I was pulling into my garage, and I was like, what's up here? Like this is what this isn't. I just knew, and luckily reached out and was like, I'm going to give this a shot. And I had a beautiful experience through that journey with ketamine, and feel like a rebirth with some of my insights that have come up through I call them like my ketamine oracle sessions, because the first one I was there, and it was like stay for the harvest. I was like, or no, actually the first one I was in a cornfield, and I was like, what the fuck? Why am I in a cornfield? Like, what does this mean? Next one, something came through. It was like stay for the harvest. And then, in another one, my dad and I's younger selves were like dancing with one another, and it was really beautiful. And I also was like, yeah, so I'm the one that's got to like break all the generational trauma, curses, heal all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, sorry about that. And we had a humorous exchange. And then at the very last one I came to, and I was like, it was something about wild woman. And so it was this journey of me coming to the meaning that I've assigned, the realizations that I've had is that the inauthenticity was going to kill me and the suppression of my wild woman. And I say that because I had positioned all of my offerings then. I'm now offering other things, but to be more palatable and good. And I had defaulted to what I knew would be more liked, loved, and accepted. And, my therapist, or actually former therapist, I'm not seeing her anymore. It feels complete. And she may actually come on the podcast in a couple of months. I'm very, very grateful for her. She asked me, she's like, do you think that suppressing your wild woman could have been causing the anxiety? And it was like a ding, bing, bing, bing. Yeah, I do. And so anyway, so I've had this death and rebirth and like rising and like stepping into and coming out of the tantric healer closet. And so this body painting session, told you it was all connected, was very symbolic. It was a marker for me of a distinct point in following my creative longings and desires. And even people were asking me like, why are you doing a body paint session? I'm like, because I want to. There was no end goal. Like I just wanted this experience. I've been wanting to be body painted for years. And I ran across this incredible artist, Alex, who is also probably going to be coming on the podcast. I'm so excited. Oh yeah, by the way, sidebar, I'm going to be up-leveling the podcast and doing in-person video sessions, recording at a studio. I think that's the next level that I want to take it. And so Alex is going to be one of my first guests in the studio in person in Austin. I'm really excited about that. And so cut to going to his place. He does not know that this happened. I have not communicated it to him yet, but I'm in the body painting session and I walk in and it's just like so grounded and peaceful. And coming off of what felt like a near-death experience, like literally the night before, I was like, I'm grateful to be alive. I don't know about you, but I am like, happy to be here on earth. And like the session felt like a portal of presence, like feeling this paintbrush glide across my skin and the cool temperature of the paint and a drop of it just, slowly drip down my, chest into my belly button. And yep, moving energy. He painted a phoenix rising on my chest. And I told him about Larry and like how I was, tender and, just holding so much, like holding the joyful memories and the song spurred memories of, like so many good ones. And then, vacillating, but, between the amount of loss or pain that is felt or in the attachment or to the physical presence and not in the voice and just so much, right? Just like that companionship and camaraderie and grieving the loss of my hope for his turnaround and like thriving again. And yeah, so he'd had no idea that happened. And so it just felt like a literal symbolic marker of the boric acid going into the body paint session and then coming out and feeling alive. And then I had a tantric session with someone, a one-on-one private session the next day, and I kept the body paint on. And absolutely one of the most beautiful sessions I've ever had with someone. And it was just like, you're right where you need to be. And the birds were chirping louder. It was like a portal of presence. It just feels like something has been lifted and something has shifted, and amidst all of the loss, right? So it's like this web or this roller coaster of experiences, and it's so beautiful. But it's some like this. And we were chatting on a priestess call the other day. It's like, yes, a lot of times I strive for that peaceful, harmonic feeling in my nervous system and body, but I also really freaking love like that sense of aliveness, like that exuberance and, core memories. I need a sip of water. And I felt more alive. And so with that being said, I will take one more peek at my notes and then I will read the poem that I read or spoke at the open mic. Let's just see here. Yeah, I just kind of said here too in my journal, I'm like, well, I don't want to go out not saying the thing or doing the thing or having the open mic or I will say I also put down here that it said feeling alive equals presence. And for me, like the more present that I've been recently, and I've been doing more Daddy Dispenza meditations and Brie Melanson and just listening to nature sounds and going on walks. And the more the level of presence I have, the more alive I feel and tapped in and to nature. Even though it's like, your nature too. But there's that. Yeah, so this is for my troubadour, and I call him that because he loved music so much, and he loved life for a long time. I think there was a lot of unspoken pain and demons, and but he always showed up and wanted to help other people. But those people that help other people and that show up for others, they need support too. So check on your strong friends. Check on the one that's always checking in on you. Yeah, I'm gonna, he's my troubadour one night. Coming out of the strip club. This is like 2011 or 2012. We used to go to Baby Dolls together and have a little cocktail and get a couple of lap dances. And I remember one night just riding I think I was in the backseat. I don't know who else was with us. Maybe I was in the front. I don't remember that part. But I remember that we were like riding in his BMW, zooming down the highway, blaring George Strait Troubadour. And like we listened to that the last time that I saw him. And we also listened to a little Randy Travis, like the deeper than the holler, about a whippoorwill. And I shit you not, I moved into a new place and there's a whippoorwill that has been here the last 2 weeks that I've been into this spot. And so it's just to me like another little sign, another little message. And I like to believe in those and it makes my life sweeter. So let me get my poem pulled up. Okay. I feel like I have snot dripping down the back of my throat. Okay. This one is for my troubadour. Does the earth turning know of my dream burning? The tale of your testimony, the rising from the ashes, wings hell-bent on spreading the gospel of your recovery. I sobbed, threw punches into pillows, then laughed at a song-spurred memory, till reality brought me again to my knees. I grieved the hope of you shedding the dope, but I understood why you wanted it to cope. I loved you, using or not, and I knew, hell, I know, the unspoken demons you fought. I longed for a turnaround, a turning, a yearning for tuning in, yet the burden of pain drowned and drowned. Yet You found solace the night they dropped you on the ground, and that sulphur river's wind whistling carried your voice to me, whispering of pieces prevail, of you moving my pen from beyond the veil, speaking of hellos and a hummingbird's flutter, of signs and that shooting stars dart across my heart. Sister, did I stutter? It's a new day. Now get out there and play. Touched by the fingerprint of your phoenix spirit, I wept. I bowed in awe, and I rose to my feet. I vowed to speak of life in all its glory, the rhythm, rhyme, and sacred story. So maybe we have no fairy tale bow tie, but a power pulsates and lies beyond your physical demise, in the way that only truth may rise. And I don't know why you dying gifted me a new depth of aliven. My body shudders, shakes, aches, and chills. Oh, for you, this grief, this love expanded my capacity to feel. My brother, consider your message told with all my heart and soul. Woo! All right. I love you, Larry. I'm sending love to all of his loved ones, his children. Helena. I'm not sure I don't even know the name of his other son right now. It's slipping my mind, but and his son's name Phoenix. I know they're reunited, and Phoenix probably ran to him right as he crossed over. And that brings me a little joy too, that he's with his son again. I love you, listener. This one's going to be short and sweet. I've got a dinner to get to, and I want to honor my commitment to continue to show up for you and share and speak and scream into the ethers if I have to. I'm going to keep on trucking. Keep on trucking. I love you from wherever you're tuning into, whatever you're doing. Keep on going. And I love you. I love you. I love you.